Greetings. My name is Louise Dente, and I welcome you to a very special on location version of Cultural Caravan. We're here now on the day of the street naming for AJASS, the AJASS men, the men of AJASS, and the women of the Grandessa models, the people who really made this possible, celebrating a very important milestone that took decades in the making. We're here at the corner of Kelly Street and Longwood Avenue in the Bronx. We're going to give you some highlights of this very special event, which includes some dignitaries, some of the men, the children, the widows, the people of the AJASS men who made this possible. And also we're going to talk to those who really were instrumental in continuing the legacy. Are you ready? Well, I am. Let's go. Yes, now I'm here joined by the person who made it possible, Mr. Cinque Brath of the Elambe Brath Foundation. Welcome to Cultural Caravan.
Thank you, Louise.
This has been, what, years in the making?
Yes, three to be exact.
And I'm so excited. It's a really wonderful day. Tell us about what you think now that we finally have a sign recognizing AJASS.
I think that's embedded now in the history and infrastructure, erasable, immutable. And that's what we want, because we know how institutions and people change history over time. We wanted to leave that mark there to let them know, even though it was 1956, it's infinity now. You know, even though AJASS as an organization is no longer here, they still are here, and their history is here, their legacy is here, and their legacy will be here forever.
Well, I mean, the great thing is that you had the children, the wives, the families here. So this has really been history in the making. We really got to thank you and the foundation for making this day possible, and an opportunity for people to come to the corner of Kelly and Longwood Avenue to see where it all began.
My name is Cyril Ennis Jr., AKA Brother Bullwhip, veteran of the Black Panther Party, a new member of EBF, the Elambe Brath Foundation. I'm going to start off that we customary do from African culture, the libations to our ancestors. So as the names be called, and as we do it, I want everybody to say Ashe after the name. So if you hear the name, please say Ashe so the ancestors can hear you. But say it where they hear you. I want to hear a strong Ashe. Ashe. Thank you. So, customary, when we do the libation, this is to give honoring to our ancestors who came before us. We must always honor our ancestors because we stand on their shoulders. If we're still here today, that means we stood on somebody's shoulders. Keep that in mind. This is us. So we will start pouring it from the various part of the conference of this earth, and we'll start east first.
Mario Bausa. Marcus Garvey. Carlos Cooks. Elambe Brath. Kwame Brathwaite. Bob Gum.
King Gum.
Chris Asimandisi Hall.
Beatrice Francis.
Frank Adu.
Priscilla Bonita.
Jimmy Abu.
Wanda Phil.
Esther Davenport,
David K. Ward,
Larry Toussaint,
Max Roach,
Abby Layton,
Miles Davis, Henry Pucho Brown,
Jackie McLean,
Amiri Baraka, Dizzy Gillespie, John Coltrane, Sun Ra, Leslie Scott, aka Zachariah Abdullah, Charlie Parker, Thelonious Monk, Mambo Brothers,
Betty Carter,
Leon Thomas, Wilbur Ware, Philly Joe Jones, Art Taylor,
Gigi Grice,
Cannonball Adderley,
Dolores Little, Shirley Knight.
We want to pay honor to Elombe Brad. He was the president and co-founder of AJASS. He did much of the organization, like he designed the logo of AJASS. When you see flyers, you're seeing the vision, the illustrations, the thinking, the dedication of Elombe Brad, my friend with whom we traveled to Zimbabwe, and because of that traveling, I met in person Mugabe. And for me, that was a unique experience in my life. Just like when I met Mandela in South Africa, also a unique experience because we need to know Africa. And that was the purpose of Elombe, that we all understand our history, our heritage, and be proud of who we are and be proud of our ancestors. He promoted AJASS in the black newspaper called The Citizen Poll. It was a book about him, about Elombe Brad, a leader. In the war, starting with the work in the Bronx, the Harlem, and across the globe, they have adopted the book history measures to make sure that the world understands the real history of Africa. We have a long way to go. As you know, right now they are pushing to eliminate the books in all places so that our children doesn't learn our own history. It's up to us to do whatever we need to do, like Malcolm said, whatever is necessary for our children to understand the history and be proud of it. The stories about Elombe Brad has challenged all leaders and used to bring leaders of Africa to Harlem so that we meet them in person. All and Malcolm X came to rescue the heroes like Melba Tolliver, the first black woman TV anchor woman in ABC, and first black journalist to cover Nixon's White House when she was fired for not hiding her afro. It was Elombe who got her the job back. This is him. And this should continue in our memory, in our heart, so that we don't forget our heroes.
I'd like to, though, recognize the Grandassa models because at 19 years old when I met Kwame and Elombe, I'd like the Grandassa models to stand because it changed my life. With all of you, the Grandassa models, and because we did a reunion, we now have a new iteration, the next generation. And Zena, would you please stand also? Being able to meet with these ladies that we met so long ago, and yet we're still able to meet. We were featured in Essence in the beginning of the year. We did the New York Historical Society. So Kwame's work, because of the fact that he documented all of the photos, he's continued to be the keeper of the images, that'll live on. And what we're doing now, we want to really impact next generations. So thank you very much for the time. And thank you again, Grandassa Models.
My name is Diallo Mwanza Gums. I am the son of Robert Angelo Gums, better known to many of you as Bob. It is said that to have a successful life, there are three elements: that you live, you love, and you make an impact. Bob Gums lived 83 strong powerful, happy years. So much so that I constantly bring up the story of a conversation that would be told to me by my cousin Nzinga Gums, daughter of Gene Gums, where when she asked my father, "How do you feel about all this attention you and AJASS are getting?" And my father replied, "I feel like a rock star." At 83, that's what I'm talking about. I feel like a rock star. So let the celebration of AJASS, the celebration of that legacy from this day forward at the intersection of Longwood Avenue and Kelly, be evidence of that impact and that legacy. I keep it nice and short and sweet because that's how I do. My name is Diallo Mwanda Gums, and I'm now the son of a movement. Black is beautiful.
Without further ado, Ajuba Grenage Bartley, Grandassa model.
My thoughts of AJASS immediately begins with the Naturally Dances, which was an annual event for my family and friends. There was so much excitement at the thought of preparing for this event. My father, John Greenidge, would sell tickets and prided himself for having the largest table at the event. My sisters and cousins would spend time making watermelon and cantaloupe seed necklaces with shellac, which was a very big hit. One of the most exciting moments was watching these Black men so organized and the pageantry of listening to actor Frank Adu reciting Frederick Douglass' 4th of July speech and watching the African Nationalist Pioneer Movement marching drills under the direction of Mr. Charles Peaker and enjoying the drumming and dance of Gustini Zulu, Alatunji, and Nubi was an amazing dancer. I admired the Grandasses so much as a teenager. I became one. The time with them was enjoyable. Today, the Grandasses are still on the move under the direction of Mr. Colo Brathwaite, photographer Kwame Brathwaite's wife, doing many benevolent works and healing workshops for women, ready to address the issues of racism in America through and also through the African diaspora. We have an active next generation modeling and performing. Finally, let us love one another as these men did. Be kind to one another. Anuda continue.
A great scholar, Professor Mark Nason, please come up.
People here have spoken with incredible eloquence about how AJASS changed the country and the world. I'm going to explain to you how it changed the history of the Bronx. Let's go back to the year 2003. We had just started at Fordham an African American history project because people from the Historical Society said there was a need for information about African American history in the Bronx because it wasn't in the print record. The Schomburg Center produced a book called The Black New Yorkers, 423 pages, 3 pages on the Bronx. We started doing oral history, starting with people who grew up in the Patterson houses. The New York Times wrote an article about it, and I got a call from a gentleman named Bob Gums. He said, "Dr. Nason, did you know that Morrisania was the Harlem of the Bronx? And that's where you need to concentrate your research?" So I met with Bob, and a whole world opened up to me. He said, "Did you know that the Bronx was a center of great jazz in the 1940s and 50s? Did you ever hear of Club 845? And at that time, they still had Google. If you Googled Club 845, nothing came up. There was a book written about the Bronx, published in 2004, with nothing about Morrisania's cultural history. Bob said, we need to document this. And we started doing interviews. Bob was involved with me with over 150 interviews of people who grew up in Morrisania, including John Braithwaite, Alumbe Braff, Kwame Braithwaite, and so many great musicians like Jimmy Owens and Valerie Capers. Thank you, all of you, for teaching me so much over 20 years, but also teaching me something today, because there's so much I didn't know about AJASS. And thank you, take care, and you're amazing.
The next person I'm gonna bring up is somebody who helped make this all possible from day one. If you haven't been to her operation, the Bronx Music Heritage Center, you should go. It's an amazing place. They're about to move again to a big shot place, a new renovation. But as I said, I can't imagine us having this without the support of Elena Martinez.
It is an incredible honor to work with Cinque and the Alumbe Brass Foundation to make this happen. The long journey, I know Cinque has worked so hard, and everyone at the foundation has worked so hard, writing the letters, going to the community board meetings, going to the city, making sure the city council made this happen, and doing the reception because of another day because of the rain, and finally today to the street naming. So it's been a long journey. It has been an honor for us to take part in this. And anyone who knows the work that Bobby and I do knows that, and some of you, we were really happy to meet a lot of you last week at the reception. We are so proud of this neighborhood. We come from this neighborhood, from this area, our families do. This neighborhood is such as Mark said, as John said, an incredible history. Not only there's so many amazing musicians, but they're cultural warriors like Evelina Antonetti, Al Quinones, the folks who started Banana Kelly, people who helped transform this neighborhood and transform the Bronx from this neighborhood. We're proud of them. We are proud of the fact that NEA jazz masters come from this neighborhood. This area has has 6 jazz masters. An incredible amount of NEA jazz masters come from these neighborhoods. The record store on the corner by the subway is on the National Register of Historic Places. We are so proud of this neighborhood and to be from the Bronx. And now we are even more proud that sign is up there, and everyone will get to know as they walk by. Everyone in this neighborhood will know when they walk by this incredible history that AJASS and Alombe and Kwame and Bob Gummins and all those men and all the folks who were involved in AJASS brought to the community in the arts, in culture, and politics. And that's another thing too. We want to shout out too for all the work that we who do a lot of work, Bobby and I, in the Puerto Rican community, are so glad that this is recognized as the work that Alombe did with the Puerto Rican community and bringing together solidarity, the African American and Puerto Rican communities and Latino communities. So for all of that work, again, gives us even more pride as we walk by the street. So thank you very much.
I don't think that I could talk any better about Chris Esmendisi Hall than his son, Akindele Jones.
If I could just touch on a couple of things. Mighty Mouse was actually one of my favorite cartoons as a kid, so it really elated me to find out that my father, of all people, was actually one of the cartoonists and illustrators on that cartoon. Little Zeng, as he mentioned, one of the first, African superheroes before Black Panther. One thing my father also did with Little Zeng was he made one of the first Black ABC books. It's actually Little Zeng's ABCs. Had a couple of other books. One I think was Melanin in Me, which is, speaks for itself. He also wrote lyrics to the song Bitches Brew, I believe, for Miles Davis. He also wrote the lyrics to So What by Eddie Jefferson. He also created the first Black baby doll. It was Huggy Bean Babies back in the days. I'm sure some of you probably remember these things. I'll say this before I go, because I'm just keep it short and sweet. History gets lost, but lineage follows you everywhere, and I'm just grateful to be part of this lineage. Thanks.
And we have a guest speaker, Cordell Clear. Is Cordell still here, the state senator?
Today I'm not Senator Cordell Clear. This is my family. Elambe Braff is someone most of you know that I was very influenced by, very proud of his work, and Namsa. They were leaders. They were people to look up to. I can't tell you how proud I am of AJASS when I first was introduced to it, and I've heard a lot of people speak here today, and we know about racism, and we know about colorism, and we know about a lot of isms, but I can tell you how much it meant to someone with this melanin that I have, to see women that were being spoken of as beautiful in that way, to be a young woman. It changed a lot of things for me, because that's not the message we get. That's not the message we used to get. It's a little bit better now. This year we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop. People said it wouldn't last. People spoke the same way about jazz at one time. What is this? This was brand new. This was something, this was rebel music. This was revolutionary, right? And it's still here today. And it's important that we preserve it and protect it and celebrate it, because it is a true form of American music. It was invented and created by us, and it is marketed all over the world. Similar to hip hop, you will find it in every language, in every country, in every ethnicity, in every faith, every single place around the world. So jazz is prolific, and jazz, like all our other music, is a unifier. It brings people together. It brings people to us. Now, I know this is the Bronx, and I always brag about Harlem because I insist that it is the Mecca of the African diaspora. Yes, clap it up for Harlem. But we celebrate, recognize, and are proud of our Bronx brothers and sisters and all the work that was done here to promote jazz. The other thing I want to mention, it's not just about the music. It is a movement. It is about the movement. So much that relates to our history and our fight is found in our music. And then, you know what else it does? It's an economic engine. It brings money to us. And what Ilambe Brack did by promoting this, he exposed and he showed a lot of artists to the world that may not have been able to be seen on that platform. So we owe him a lot of thanks, okay? He showed people, and give it up. It's a lot of thanks to do that at that time. Sinke, I appreciate you carrying on the legacy, because we don't want things to get lost and the story to get buried. And sometimes worse than buried, it gets erased, and sometimes they tell it wrong. So we're relying on you to keep the facts straight for future generations so that they don't get it twisted, as the young people say. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so proud and honored and excited for this day.
Thank you, Senator Cordell Clear. So without further ado, I bring his lovely wife, Carita Adu. No pun intended. Here she comes.
Frank Adu, my husband. Wonderful person, a wonderful man. He and our family overall very proud for his involvement with AJASS. Zinke has pretty much run down his work in terms of acting in commercial theater and film, and he was a very talented man. He also was a graphic artist, but he just pursued that art in the same way the other brothers did here. He was very determined to make his mark, and he was a very handsome man, so that wasn't, that was, and very smart, very funny, and very intelligent. I'm happy to see all the people here. Ernest, I think is one of them. And I'm just so sorry that my husband cannot be here. But his product has been seen, and it has become a very important part of Board of Education touring materials. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ernest Baxter is the oldest. He beats Cletus by a few months, I believe. Is that so, Ernest? You older than Cletus by a few months, right? Yes, indeed. He is the oldest living member of AJASS. Yes. Ernest, full.
I'm just very happy to be here, you know, very happy. I've seen a lot of change, and I feel very proud to be a part of it. It was a new experience. You know, what I really wanted to be in my life was to be a farmer. It was a farm, or not corn, anything that has to do with farm. That was my life until I got to New York City. Changed. But being around farming in Long Bay, where I could do, kind of changed my life. It gave me a different direction on life choices, things to do, and what is possible. Right? You can do pretty much anything you want to do in the world. And a lot of that thought came out of being a member of AJASS. And I'm very proud of it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All the way home. Oh. Slow it up, slow it down.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast, and we continue to encourage you to tune in, to write, and to tell a friend. Until next time, Louise Dente saying thank you.